Okay, so now on to question 10 on the practice test. All right, so we are going to use the compound interest model. A of t equals P1 plus R over N to the NT. Okay, so before we do this, we've practiced this on our homework and we know what everything stands for. But if we don't, I'm going to talk you through what everything stands for. This right here represents the future value. This right here represents the principal or initial investment. Right, this right here represents the interest rate as a decimal. This right here represents the number of times the interest is calculated per year, or called the compounding period. This right here represents the number of years that the investment is being invested. All right, so if you write out, every time you see one of these problems, you write out all the things you know and the things you don't know. You'll be able to figure out how to attack the problem. Okay, so we've done that. All right, so now the first one asks, find the future value of, so 10A asks, find the future value of an initial deposit of $3,000 at 5% compounded monthly for 10 years. All right, so we don't know what the future value is. We know that the initial investment is 3,000. We know that the interest rate is 0.05. We know the number of years is 10. Okay. So now we take all this information and we plug it into that formula. If you write everything out, it takes 10 seconds, 20 seconds at the most, and it will mean that you will get the problem right, as opposed to if you don't write this out, you're likely to get confused. So again, as my grandma said, a stitch in time saves 9. What that means is it's worth spending time to prepare yourself so you don't have to lose more points. All right, so we've got A of 10 equals 3,000, 1 plus 0.05 over 12 raised to the 12 times 10. Okay, so we key this into our calculator, and because it's money, we round to 2 decimal places. Okay. All right, so I get 4941.03. Okay. Okay, so now we'll do part A. So part B asks, what would the initial investment? So we're going to do part B. So now part B, what would the initial investment have to be? So we know that A or A of T is 3,000 because I'm actually saying the future value. Oh, sorry, not 3,000, 20,000. Okay. We don't know what the initial investment is. We know that the interest rate is 0.06, and we know that T is 20. Okay, and we know that the compound period on this one was 12, and the compound period is 12. All right, so now we go over here and we write out everything we know. So we know 20,000 equals P 1 plus 0.06 over 12 raised to the 12 times 20. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to calculate what this value is. And if I were you, I wouldn't round it. I would just write it out as many decimal places as possible. And I get 3.3102p, just rounding it to 3 decimal places. Okay, and now simply divide both sides by 3.3102, by 3.3102. I can't emphasize how much you need to write out every single step. If you do that, chances are you're going to get the problem right. And there you go. That's my initial investment. So that's question 10.